So for as long as I remember, when I heard about the topic of sexual abuse, sexual assault, it's always been around women experiencing that. We typically don't hear men's experiences or their perspectives. There's a lot of things that both men and women receive very similar messaging around men as it relates to their experiences when it comes to sexual assault, right? So more often than not, we hear the tale of, oh, you should be happy that she did that to you, or men don't talk about stuff like that, right? You either brush it under the rug. It's not assault, especially if it's from a woman. It's not assault. Like, you just got lucky. Those are very damaging and very dangerous narratives to be telling, because it kind of absolves women of the notion of it absolves women of the notion that they have to also receive consent from men, and that is like very dangerous, right? Consent is something that both men and women should be not only advocating for, but nobody's consent should be violated just based off of like, oh, if you're a man, then you don't have consent. Like, and that is just super crazy, super wild. So I just recently shot an episode on consent. So this is like a nice kind of follow-up episode, because I am joined by a close friend who's a man. And he's going to discuss his experience with this, and just in terms of how this kind of just plays into the overall theme of Her Nut Matters in general, right? Again, we all receive very similar messages around sex, what consent is, what sex actually looks like for different people. And so if a man has been the person who has experienced something in terms of sexual trauma, that is going to alter their mindset, and it may play into the ways in which they experience and advocate as it relates to sex. So yeah, we finna get right into this episode, and I'm going to allow my guest to introduce himself. Welcome to Her Nut Matters, the podcast that dives headfirst into all things sex, pleasure, and empowerment. I'm Jody, your unapologetic guide to a more liberated sex life. Here we break down taboos, celebrate sexuality, and explore what it means to truly own your pleasure. So whether you're curious, kink-friendly, or just looking for ways to spice things up, you're in the right place. Now let's get to it.
What up, y'all? It's Jones.
I bet they wasn't expecting that.
Right. What up? It's Jones from Roses Are Dead podcast. And yeah, I'm here to tell my story.
Surviving older ladies. I'm ready to tell my story.
Yeah, surviving older women.
Yeah. So, I think about the like, okay, so we've seen this played out like in everyday life, but then when you think about when it shows up in the media, I specifically think about the situation with Boosie and his, he talks about how like, oh, this is how we make sure that our sons ain't gay. We take them and we make sure they damn near like forcing them to have sex with older women as a way like, oh, you're not gay now because now you like that's just so, it's wild. And also
that's a hell of a boot camp.
It's a hell of a boot camp, but it's very common, especially with guys that are of that generation. Like I know that even people that I know personally, like my dad, when my brother turned like, I want to say 13 or 14, he paid somebody to fuck my brother.
Damn.
And
Pop's doing that is a little wild. I don't know.
Like, and it's like, it was just so normal, but but again, that goes into that narrative that we all receive in terms of boys. You have to make them men early. And in order to make them men, you got to make sure they're not gay. Like, the black community is so afraid of the gay, it's crazy. That it's like, okay, to make sure you're not gonna do that, let me put some pussy in your face real quick. Like,
to make sure you're not gonna do that, let's get you sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
By a woman.
Insane. So let's get into your story, right? Like, let's like
clap, nigga. Damn. Thank you. Can you clap harder than that? Your hand, shoulder. There you go.
Ouch.
So now he knows to go back 3 minutes.
Okay. Let's get into your story.
For sure. And it's so funny. I didn't even know I had a story. Like, I didn't know this was a bad thing. I didn't know that this was like a real problem until like a few years ago. I'm like, damn, that's what that was. Mm-hmm. But now I was in Detroit, and I was like 12 years old, and so my older cousin, I looked at him like a big brother. Like, this nigga he was that nigga, you know what I'm saying, back then. This nigga was like the prototype of like what you want to be, as far like if you a young nigga and you see him as an older cousin or just an older figure or whatever. This nigga, he could fight. You know what I'm saying? The women liked him. You know what I'm saying? Niggas respected him. You know what I'm saying? He was in the streets, and he just had that overall aura of like, I'm that nigga.
That hood charisma.
Yeah, the hood charisma. You know what I'm saying? The shit that, you know, that we glorify in the hood. So I went to Detroit, and I was going back and forth to Detroit my whole childhood. Like, I've been to Detroit too many times, like I can't even count. But as I got older, I was around like 12. I go out in Detroit, and I'm at my auntie crib, and it's me, my mom, my sisters, like the whole family. Like, we all went down there, and we in the crib, and it's just him, me, my pops. Like, it wasn't that many male figures as far as on my age or close to my age, because I was the youngest. And at he had to be, if I was 12, he probably was like maybe 20 or something like that, like 19, 20. I want to say he was like 20, 21, something like that. I don't know. But we all in the crib, and he finna leave out, and he like, hey, y'all, I'm finna go. I'll be back later. I'm gonna take Lil Reggie with me. Everybody, all right, cool. Like, nobody thought twice about anything, not even me. Like, this my big cousin.
Yeah, and you said it's not a lot of, you know, technically kids your age, like, that are boys. So it's like, what else you gonna do? Just be around a bunch of adults? Like, it's a bunch of adults here. So it's
not only just adult women.
Yeah, a bunch of women too. Yeah, for
that was the main. Like, let him go with Dre. You know what I'm saying? He, you know what I'm saying? He a guy. We don't want him in the house with all the girls, and then you know, so cool. And we would. I'll go with him. It was in the middle of the day. We outside, we hitting blocks. You know what I'm saying? We sliding.
Hitting blocks is crazy.
no cap.
This you in training, little nigga. Like,
hey, you know what it was like? It was just like training day. It was just like I was the white boy and my cousin was Denzel. I'm in a car like, damn it. It was funny as hell. So we outside, we hitting blocks and shit, and you know, it's getting late, and we pull up on one of his homies' blocks, and I was the youngest one out there. It was a bunch of his friends. They all probably like 20, 21, 23, 25, whatever, shit like that. And they're like, this is my little cousin, y'all.
Right.
I'm like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? And then my cousin, he started to tell them, oh yeah, my little cousin, he be getting hoes. Like, you be getting hoes back in Chicago, right? And I'm like, hell yeah. Yeah.
Hoes at 12 is crazy, because how old are these hoes? You calling somebody's daughter's hoes? Like,
you calling a 12-year-old girl
a 11, 12, 13-year-old girl's hoes. Like, yeah, you be getting hoes. Like, what?
What? But in his defense, just like that dude who broke it down, like he like, you know, geese and the hoes, like CC whining in there, they could be the hoes. Like, the hoes is just the hoes. You know, it's just the group of girls.
Not like geese. What?
He said, if you see a group of geese, you ain't gonna say them geeses, you gonna the hoes. I forgot the analogy.
What?
Y'all know that story. If y'all, I don't know if you do, but it's funny as shit.
Oh my God. Okay, continue.
But nah, so he like, yeah, you be getting hoes back in Chicago, and of course I'm lying. I'm like, yeah, for sure. Ooh, like, you got some pussy, and I don't think I think I probably lied and said I got some pussy or some head. He asked me if I got pussy or head, and either way, I was like, yeah, to whichever one it was. And he looking at me, he like, yeah, all right, we'll see. And I'm like,
We'll see is crazy.
I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Like, what the hell you mean we'll see? I'm gonna be nervous after that.
I'm like, okay, whatever. So some time go by. It's getting late, like the motherfucker. It's probably like 10 o'clock at night. And we still on the block. We outside. It was low-key getting chilly, too. I was ready. These niggas was really outside. I'm ready to go home. But they drinking. Matter of fact, they had liquor coats. I wasn't drinking. I'm 12.
You're 12.
You know what I'm saying? I'm cold. I'm ready to go home. But no. So this lady pull up. You know what I'm saying? And in my head, this is like a grown ass. Like in hindsight, thinking with my 12-year-old brain, I thought she was probably like 40 something. Like that's how not based off how she looked, because I'm 12 and this is just an older woman. So they like, yeah, cuz come on. And I'm like, where we going? He like, get in the van. So I'm like, I'm thinking we finna go somewhere, hit another block or some shit. So we get in the van, I go to the back, I'm sitting in the back, and then the lady who had pulled up, she get in the van. And my cousin is this how it was, right? So this is like you got the driver's seat, the passenger seat, and the two seats right here, then the row in the back. I'm in the back. Right. My cousin right here, the lady right here, he turned around like, you said you be getting hit? I'm like, yeah. He said, cool. He tap up, he like, go ahead, take care of my little cousin. I'm like, oh shit, nigga. She started taking my pants off, and I'm nervous. But at the same time, I'm excited. My dick definitely got hard. My dick definitely got hard.
Okay.
And take my pants down. My cousin, he's still in there. He egging this shit on. He's like, yeah, let's get it. And she sucking for. I wasn't even coming then. I didn't even hit. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even coming at all. So she just sucked my dick. Said she got tired. And then it's all right. He good.
All right, he good is crazy.
I didn't feel violated. It felt good.
You
know what I'm saying? It felt good. I didn't feel violated.
He took Jody class.
She took Jody class. She took Jody class.
It's crazy.
But now when it was done, you know what I'm saying? I felt like a man. I felt like, oh shit, like, yeah, nigga, I just got some head. And that bitch was older than me. And I'm like, we go back to the crib. I can't stop smiling. I'm just cheesing.
I bet you can't.
And then my uncle, I come back. It's so funny. My uncle, he was a little older. He was over there when we got back, and we come in the crib. I'm just cheesing, and he kind of peeping the scene. He say, "Dre, where the fuck you take him?" He say, why the fuck is this nigga? This nigga can't. It's 11 o'clock at night. This nigga just cheesy as hell. What the fuck going on? He like, I got him some head. He like, that's crazy. Just shit, little nigga. And dab me up. And shit, that was that. That's the story.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was sexual assault.
Yeah. I will say this. Assault looks so different based on different factors, right? It doesn't always look the same,
she was,
right?
I don't think I tell her, right? She was like probably like 30, 31.
Yeah, so this woman was our age now.
Yeah. That's insane.
Assaulting someone who's the age of our kids.
Mm-hmm. My son is he's 13 now, but still, same thing.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, like, I know you was, like, undersized when you was a kid.
Yeah.
So, you was 12. How old did you look?
He's nigga.
Probably 9.
Right? Nah, probably, I could have passed for 8. Nigga, I didn't, first of all, I just started looking like this like 5 years ago. No lie. I didn't have no facial hair, no nothing. My freshman year, I looked 12.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
high school. That's crazy.
Right. So I was definitely a fucking baby.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, like me as, first of all, in my 20s, I couldn't imagine like, I would feel so weird if someone had like brought a kid around. It's certain shit that I don't even like. No, I'm not like, it's kids around. Like, I don't know. And maybe it's because I'm a mom. Like this lady couldn't have been a parent. Like it ain't no way in hell you was a parent and not thinking like that. Like I don't know. I can't.
Like nothing. Like the crazy part. is thinking back on for her perspective. Nothing went off in your head that said this ain't it. This is wrong. Like nothing. Maybe was it because I'm a boy? And like this ain't.
That's
this
exactly
ain't
what it is. It's because you're a boy. So that goes into the narratives that we receive around boys and men experiencing sexual assault, right? 1 in 10 men have experienced some sort of sexual coercion in their life, which is a form of abuse, right? I want to hold on. Let me see. I got the exact stat. I don't want to misquote it, but 43% of men. 43% of men report experiencing some sort of sexual harassment and/or assault. Mm-hmm. That is a lot. Yeah. We don't talk about it, right? Anytime we hear those conversations around sexual assault or abuse, even if you don't gender the person, like if I just begin to exactly, if I just begin to tell a story and I say, oh, it was this person at my job and they had to go to HR because someone else was sexually harassing them. You're going to assume 100%. That it was a woman who went to HR and a man who was harassing them. But the reality is it's a great chance that it was a man experiencing that. And if he goes to HR with that and saying, no, this is making me uncomfortable. Oh, you must be gay. You supposed to enjoy this. You should feel lucky that someone is doing that. It's like those are very dangerous narratives. Because now the way in which you view sex is very different, right? Like men typically, like if you're in a situation where you feel like, oh, okay, this feels good, it's supposed to happen this way or whatever, you're not really likely to advocate for yourself in a way where when you do feel uncomfortable, you'll actually like say something, because it's like you're used like, oh, if I say something, then people gonna view me like this, and I don't want to be viewed like that, right? So it's just a dangerous like narrative that we tell to both men and women.
Even in that moment, even though it didn't cross my mind, I want to say, let's just say, no, actually, this did cross my mind. I can't say no. I just told him I've been getting pussy. I've been getting head. You know what I'm saying? This is my older cousin. I want to impress him. Mm-hmm. Like this is, I don't want to seem gay. Even at 12, niggas are scared of being gay.
Yeah.
Like I ain't gay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. I think it's also problematic that we kind of force, again, boys to grow up as quickly as possible because we like, oh, you a little man, right? Like this is what you're supposed to do. And it's like, it's just very dangerous. It's very dangerous.
And even though like with me, right, I don't know how that affected me. I'm like, does that contribute to how sexual I am now? Mm-hmm. Like how early I became sexual? Cause I probably, let me see, that was 12, like shit, 4 years later, it was up. I was looking to, be active a lot. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, but even though I didn't see anything wrong with it. Like my son now, I'm protecting him. I don't want him to, you know what I'm saying, get no head right now. Mm-hmm. I don't even want that to fuck with your head. I don't even want your focus to shift.
Not in a way where you feel like, because here's the thing, you don't want him to get it as a way to prove something to someone else, right? Because, like at the end of the day, our children, we have to guide them, but the choices they make will still be the choices that they make. And you want them to make very informed choices about their sexuality. So if he did decide like, oh, I got this girlfriend at 14, we want to experiment, you would want him to like, no, we're both actively consenting to this thing, right? As opposed to someone saying like, all right, cool, I'm finna get this older woman to come, whatever, just to make sure you're not gay. Like that's really the only reason why older men do that to young boys, to make sure that they're not gay.
Or not even to make sure that they're not gay. I wouldn't say that. I would say it's just, if you think about like back in the day, in like the movie 300, right? How you became men and proved that you were men. They would push you out in the wilderness and you would have to fucking fight a bear or saber-tooth tiger or some shit. If you came back, you was a man and everybody respected it. And now you're a man. You got everybody to respect. And today is if you go get some head or if you have sex with a woman, it's like, nigga, you a man.
It's a conquest.
It's a conquest. Like you good. Like you solidified.
Yeah.
You know?
Can I interject with a question?
For sure.
I wanted to point out, like, something interesting. Where Reggie was just saying that how he felt in the moment was like, I want to impress my cousin. I just said that I did this, so I got to live up to this standard.
Yeah.
So you was able to be coerced by feeling intimidated by the situation, having to live up to a certain standard and impress the person involved in people involved in the situation. And that kind of just opened my eyes to something as far as like, as a guy, when I hear about women being coerced, am I saying that word?
Yeah, coerced.
I was always looked at it like, man, you an adult, you a grown woman. Like, why didn't you just tell this nigga no? Why didn't you just say like you don't want to do this?
Yeah.
And it's like he's speaking from an aspect of being 12 years old, so he is a child. But I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but that intimidation he felt in a situation because it was the difference was like age, right?
Yeah.
Age, influence.
Yeah.
But the difference was it could be a similar level of influence when it's
financially, it could be like different things the reason why you want to impress that other person for sure if it was a woman.
I'm not gonna advocate for the finance because now you sell a pussy, but it could be like the status, like the basketball team example Reggie brought up on the show on Words I did a couple months ago. It's like this guy was the star of the basketball team. Maybe you was acting like you were freak in high school. You ain't even on shit, but you put it out there like you a freak. Now you got to live up to this because you in the room with the basketball star.
Yep.
Or maybe it's just the presence of a man in period that just intimidates you, that make you feel like, oh, I got to do this. Or maybe it's because, you know, this nigga told you he loved you and you 15 and anybody never told you that before. You know what I'm saying? So that was just kind of eye-opening for me.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said a little earlier, like it comes in so many different ways, like so many different scenarios. The fact that you experienced that at 12, I do want to say something. You said that basically your older cousin had asked you, were you sexually active? And you said yes.
Yeah.
At the age of 12. I also lied at the age of 12 about my sexual activity. A guy that I liked, he was my boyfriend. And he was like, yeah, you know, like, have you ever had sex before? And I was like, yeah.
What the fuck is in our heads at that age? Like, of course.
Like, it's the thing because, like, we feel like having sex is the cool thing to do, and you don't want to seem as if, like, no, hell no, I'm not, like, doing that or whatever. So I dead ass lie and say, like, yeah, I'm doing it. So now this motherfucker wondering when he gonna get some pussy because I told him I was having sex.
Now you own pussy?
Right.
This shit crazy.
Man.
But he like, okay, cool, like. And I will say this, there were other 12-year-olds having sex around us. I just wasn't one of them. And I'm like, if I tell this man no, if I tell this boy no, he gonna just go freak on somebody else. And I'm like, oh, no. So, like, I guess, like, after a month, he realized I was capping because I didn't even kiss him. I wasn't even kissing at 12.
First of all, wanting it at 12, like, expecting it, it's like, damn, I'm finna
expecting.
So check this out. This was however many years ago, whenever we were 12, and you had kids like that. You know what I'm saying, who like that boy you described. That number of children like that has dramatically increased today because of the access that they have, the phones, Twitter, you know what I'm saying, OnlyFans accounts, like they're exposed. They know what the fuck is going on a lot more. So we used to like almost hear about porn sometimes. Terry had a collection, but we used to, you know, not on purpose, but not for the most part, accidentally. But not for the most part, like, just having access to porn, it was a big deal. It's like you see this shit, you know what I'm saying? Even like, I remember on the internet, I'll never forget. I was in school. I was going to South Loop downtown, and we had a computer class. And you know, the boy talk or whatever. I type in there www.girls.com. I'm trying to get access to look at porn and shit. And I mean, I pulled that shit up at the crib. You know, kids are fucking dumb. You think you're slick. My pops.
Think about her kid.
Look, I'm triggered now.
My pops, and I'm looking up fucking porn on the family computer. There's only one computer in the house. And computers was a big deal. Like if you had a computer in the crib, motherfucker like, hey, I got a computer. You know what I'm saying? So my pops, he's sitting in front of that bitch every day. He's intrigued as much. He was trying to be motherfucking Steve Jobs back then. So he on the computer all day, every day. And I guess he looking at browser history. I hear red. I'm like, oh shit, chills down my body. I see him sitting on the computer. I'm like, there's no way he could know. There's no way he could know. Had that conversation. My goof ass. And then, you know what? I thought I was slick. I did think I was slick. I put something in the recycle bin, but I didn't empty the recycle bin. It was just all bad. But I went through so many hoops to get access to that type of stuff. When you ain't got to go to the family computer, that motherfucker is in your hand.
Yeah.
You can pull that shit up right then and there. You could delete. You can go in private mode, private browser mode. You get all of that shit. It's just way more accessible. So I think a lot of kids now are experiencing sexual assault. A lot of kids now are getting prematurely introduced to a sexual world to where the average kid that's dealing with that is going to show, by the time they leave high school, you damn near gonna have some kids.
Yeah, and I will say this, something that was problematic when we were growing up, which is still problematic, is the kind of hush around sex. And the reason being is that when you're not having healthy conversations, age appropriate conversations around what sex is, and the repercussions, the consequences of having sex, like what comes with having sex, right? Not just this is what sex is, but this is what could potentially come with that. Do you understand that, right? Yeah. And then having that kind of open relationship with your child to where they can come to you and ask you questions. When you have that relationship in place, those children are less likely to be sexually assaulted because they understand what is appropriate, what isn't appropriate, and they understand this idea of consent.
What can happen.
Versus if you're not, nobody is talking about it. It's all very hush hush, and then you get exposed to a situation and you don't know how to respond in that situation because you have no idea what is supposed to be happening.
Now you're gonna believe your peers and whatever's being said around. Well, I don't need to do that. She ain't gonna happen to you.
Exactly.
Oh, you straight. She ain't gonna get pregnant. Nigga. You can't get pregnant. She was riding you. Of course you can get pregnant.
Yeah, like it literally falls down. Like what? Like it. Right. Yeah, like I remember. Do you remember the song "My First Time"?
Oh, I remember the title.
Yeah, my very first in the house on it. Do you remember?
Wait, how old was we?
I don't fucking remember, but I remember the worst fucking sex advice came in that song.
What did it say?
He was like, he said, I went up to Big Bro for a little advice. He said, young bro, whatever you do, just make sure you strap twice. Putting on 2 condoms?
You can't feel shit, first of all.
They're going to break. Both of them are going to break. Like the friction from both condoms, both condoms are going to break. And now you might as well went raw. Like saying like you might as well strap twice. And that's very much like some shit that I don't know, the motherfuckers in the 70s, the 80s, they was some real smart, dumb motherfuckers because they created that kind of narrative. Like I remember being a kid and I remember hearing like my dad and them saying stuff like, yeah, I remember a couple times, like even in like movie references, they'll say like, yeah, you got to strap twice. Like, why are y'all saying that? Like, that is really bad advice. Like,
pretty horrible.
Like, pretty horrible. So it's like, it's just a lot of misinformation around sex, which makes you more susceptible to, being a victim in those situations because you don't understand. So
Trey, this was last year, 7th grade. So Trey came to me and he like, yeah, Dad. It's a rumor going around like this girl, she was giving head in the bathroom. I'm like, it ain't gonna lie, it caught me off guard. I had to really, I'm like, Dad, how old is this nigga?
You had to action.
I'm like, oh shit, this is the type of, it's happening.
Yeah, like it's time.
It's here.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So
he probably thinks somebody owe him some pussy.
He like, damn,
I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So he, I'm like, yeah, you know what it is. Like, yeah, So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, let me just give you some, because you probably want some, you know what I'm saying? Or are you curious at least?
Curious, right?
Because it's one of your guys, one of your homies or whatever and everything. So I say, let me show you what the possibilities of head. So I asked somebody, this girl, was this the first time this rumor has spread about her? He like, nah, it was, you know what I'm saying, a couple other boys. I say, okay, cool. So that means she's giving multiple boys head, right? So let me tell you what could possibly happen. So I go to my phone. I pull up genital herpes.
Oh my God.
I pull up genital herpes. And I'm like, look at this. He's like, oh, what the fuck is that? What is that? I'm like, that can happen from, that's a sexually transmitted disease. She's doing this to multiple people who got multiple germs, multiple bacteria, all of this. And it's creating this conjunction of shit. And
you showed this baby
I did.
genital herpes.
And I'm like, look, by the time she get to you, who knows how many? So you gonna be the unlucky one if you let her do this to you, and this how your penis could look like with all that shit on it
for life.
And I'm like, and it won't go away. It won't go away. So that really opened his eyes. That really he like
ain't gonna never want his thing sucked.
I'm gonna break it down.
He will one day.
Yeah, he will one
today,
day, but just not today. And I used fear-based, you know.
Clearly.
I did, and it deterred it for a while. He going to high school next year, and I have an amazing idea. I don't even know if I want to say it on the pod. No, I will, but I just don't want y'all to know about it just yet. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna create something. It's gonna be for my son, and I'm gonna bring it to the village, the young boys in the village. It's so cold, and I guarantee you, it's going to stop early pregnancy in these young boys' lives. They will not be baby daddies in their teenage years, all the way up into their mid 20s, early 30s. They are going to be. I feel like what I'm getting ready to create, it is going to open their eyes and prepare them, and they're going to have a strong reality on what happens if you go down that road. It's going to be so dope. I'm going to tell y'all when the camera's off.
Oh God, I'm scared.
I fuck with it.
I'm
It's
scared.
gonna sound like $1 million idea.
Hey, and I swear, I promise you, when I tell y'all what it is, we can absolutely. I feel like, I mean, you got the connections, Terry. I feel like we'll be invited to schools to teach, to do this. Pause. We'll be invited to schools to present this to young men and women, but mainly for the boys.
Let's make an app for it.
Nah.
Okay. Well, I will say this. There's a lot of fear-based sexual education in schools already.
Not
it's
like
a
mine.
lot of not like mine is crazy.
He said he got the haunted house. He got the haunted safe house.
The studies have shown that when you give adequate sexual education and they understand what it is, they're not as curious about it as opposed to just trying to scare them out of doing that, right? Because they just gonna be a little bit more careful about not getting caught. They like, okay, now I just can't have this conversation with you because you're trying to scare me.
I guarantee you ain't gonna be worried about getting caught.
Oh my God! No.
Your well-being is gonna be in your mind.
Okay.
You ain't gonna be worried about getting caught.
All right. So, oh my fucking God. So that's that. I do want to get back to the narratives that we receive very early on around sex, right? Boys are told to get it as quickly as possible. Girls are told you're not supposed to do it at all.
As long as you can.
So I don't know who they expect these little boys to be having
Who they
sex
gonna
with.
get it from?
That's how you become a finesser. That's why
The manipulator is created.
The manipulator is created because that's how a lot of little boys be talking about now they love these little girls and they doing stuff, and then these little girls like, oh, I ain't never been told I love you before, and now they giving head to all these little boys that's telling them they love them, and it's like
and there's actually a way. I feel like a lot of like little girls, they giving head because it's like, you know what, I'm not gonna have. I feel like they probably scared enough to not have sex yet. So it's like, okay, I'll give head. That's not sex.
I was gonna say, in it, you know, that's a cultural thing too. Like, a lot of non-black women are more likely to give head.
Oh well, I can see that. I can see that.
Are more likely to not give head as opposed to black women. They're more young black girls. They're more likely to say like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna, you know, do it, and I'm gonna save my mouth for my husband or whatever. But that's because of the narratives also that black women receive around, you know, like performing oral is nasty. That's what hoes do. Like, so we receive that narrative in the Black community, right? Even, you know, like even boys, like young Black boys. I remember in high school or whatever, this rumor was floating around, and I'm using the word rumor because it's not like he did it to me, so I couldn't verify, but I'm pretty sure it was true. Like, I don't think it was a rumor. I think it was a fact. But they was like, ooh, you know, woo, eat ass. And we was in high school. And so
I didn't eat ass till I was fucking late 20s.
Hygiene wasn't even that good to be eating no ass back then.
So, you know, like, and that's how, you know, like, they wasn't even vocalizing and being proud of the fact that they was eating coochie in high school. So the fact that he was labeled as the ass eater in high school, people was like, yeah, you know he eat ass. And motherfuckers like, I mean,
crazy.
Ain't that his girlfriend? I don't care what the hell he doing with his girlfriend type shit. But it was like somebody found out he was eating his girlfriend ass and told the whole school. And so
he probably got a lot of pussy off that.
I don't know.
He probably got a lot of ass off of it too.
What's funny is I actually went out on a date with him. And he thought he was gonna get, like, I had no intentions on having sex with him whatsoever. Like, I got my food and got up out of there. Like, I had no intentions on it. But also back then, he was one of them people, like, okay, so when I went out on the date with him, this was after high school. So this was like years after high school. Like, I want to say we was in our early 20s or whatever. Mm-hmm. And in high school, he was one of those guys where it was like, the girl's like, oh, he fine, he this, he that, or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, he kind of peaked in high school. He wasn't fat yet. So it was still like early 20s. Like, it was still cool or whatever. We went out on a date or whatever. Again, I know he thought he was going to have sex with me. I had no intentions on it whatsoever. But also, like, he kind of like hinted at wanting to eat my ass. And I was like, I don't even like that. Like, I don't want that. Like, that's not really, like, I'm good on that. Like, I know that probably, clearly that was a one-liner that other girls can, you know, was going for or whatever.
That was his opener.
Like, I'm cool on that. Like, yeah. But I bring that up to say, like, I recently joked, right? So it was like this Facebook status or whatever. And then the post said, like, men to cheat on you and then be eating her coochie and woo woo. And then I responded, I said, nah, they eating ass. Yeah. And then it was somebody that got under there like, oh my God, men don't eat ass and woo woo. This is a man that I went to high school by the way. And he was saying like, we wasn't really eating coochie in high school. So you talking about eating ass. I'm like, bro, we're
fucking 40.
We're in our 30s. What the fuck is you talking about? And if you ain't eating ass, I feel sorry for your wife. And that's just what it is. But you're not finna get out here like, if you trying to compare our mindsets in our 30s versus how we were in high school, like, you're crazy to me.
It's concerning when people, our age is bringing up high school. Like, even you still living in those days.
Yeah.
Oh my God, nasty.
You should have lived enough life where you can pull a reference from any other place other than high school.
High school is crazy because
a lot of people peaked in high school.
Why would I go back 15, 20 years to talk about what the fuck was done? Like, decades.
It's irrelevant.
Decades have literally passed.
You're
like,
double the age that you were when you graduated. Like, shut the fuck up about
what the fuck are we talking about?
You couldn't go to college. You couldn't bring up no college memories.
But also, I will say this. A lot of the guys that, like, a lot of the people that I went to high school with don't know me past high school. Mm-hmm. And so you only know of me in theory past high school because you see me on social media. Like, you don't know me for real.
Yeah.
So, and I look at y'all exactly like that. Like, y'all be looking at me like, oh, I know you. No, you knew who the fuck I was in high school. Right. You don't know me for real. And I look at y'all as like, I don't know y'all. Like, I really do. I look at y'all as if I don't know y'all. Y'all looking at me like, yeah, I know her, woo woo. Like, nah, nigga, I don't know you.
I seen a post. That said, niggas be like, nigga, you was a bitch in high school. And nigga, I will kill you right now.
Say that shit to my face.
I was a kid. I will kill your ass.
Yeah, like, you'll be a dead man fucking with me.
At bare minimum, I'll smack the shit out of you.
Yeah, that shit.
I was 14 years old. You would die.
Right. Trying to compare, like, you don't know what the fuck people then lived and experienced or whatever, and you trying to hold. And then this is the thing too, like, if you wasn't one of them people that was in my close circle too, you really didn't even know me in high school either. Because I was, first of all, I was a nerd in high school. I hung with 5 people max. 5 people max. So it's only like 5 people from high school that can genuinely say that they knew me. Me and my daughter's father met in high school. I be telling him today, you think you know me and you don't.
That's funny.
Because he clings on to the version of me that I was when we were together. And I'm like, do you know how much life I've experienced since
people usually kind of keep you where they met you.
Keep you wet, yes.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to accept someone's growth, especially if you ain't been around for it.
Yeah.
And I met you here, so this is how I know you. And let's just say we lose contact. When I see you again, I'm going to associate with the person I knew with who you are now. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard to accept who you are. And you could even get accused of being fake. You could even get accused of being bougie or whatever the case may be, because I know you as the person when I met you. Mm-hmm. So fuck my growth, fuck who I've became, fuck the experiences that shaped me to this new version. Like, I just got to be that. And that usually happens to people.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like, it's super unfortunate because we go through so many changes, so many different life cycles or whatever. Like, life literally just happens.
Yeah.
Like, you could have known me a year ago and I could be a totally different person today from a year ago just because some shit happened to me and now my whole mindset has changed. And honestly, to tie that back to the topic, like, that's literally what happens with sexual experiences. Like, the fact that you had that sexual experience at 12, even if you feel like, oh, well, I don't think it kind of influenced me, it did, right? Because it impacts how you parent. It impacts the protectiveness, the way in which you are guiding your son. You're not one of them people like, oh, shit, my son finna be 14. Let me go get him some pussy. You're not one of those people, right? And so I know for a fact, like, the things that I've experienced has influenced the way in which I parent my child. My child does not spend a night over other people's houses.
Yeah, that's over with.
That shit is super dead. Like, my child doesn't, like, it's just not happening or whatever. Especially if it's if it's older boys, men in the house, I'd rather not risk it. Just not gonna do it, right? There was another situation that happened when I was 12. So the first situation, I lied to the boy, and then, like I said, a month later he realized I was a cap ass motherfucker. Bitch. And so he was like, okay, cool, we need to break up. He broke up with me. So there was another situation. I had a friend. At the time she was my best friend, and I asked my mom, can I go to her house? And my mom typically I asked, can I spend the weekend at her house? And my mom was like, okay, I just gotta talk to her mama. So but here was the thing, I was not technically going to her house. So this particular friend had an older brother who had a girlfriend that she called her big sister. We were going to her house.
Oh.
We were going to her house, right? So she talked to my mama. She was like, oh, yeah, like, I got the girls, whatever. This girl is maybe 19.
I wish the fuck I would trust an 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-year-old. I don't give a fuck. Like, none of that shit.
My mom agrees.
Yeah.
Me and that friend or whatever, we goes to her house. She lives with her father, who is not present. He is not in the house at all. So we are you have 2 12-year-olds in the house for a weekend with a 19-year-old for the whole weekend. We're eating pizza, chicken wings, like fast food every day. She also smoked a lot of weed. She was also around a lot of other people her age, a lot of teenagers. So it's a lot of people in and out her house because her parents are not home. So I remember being in that apartment or whatever on the east side. I want to say 76 in Drexel, like. Just to
go ahead.
76 in Drexel, like, I remember us walking to, like, Cottage Grove to, like, go to the corner stores and shit like that, right? So it's, like, in that area or whatever.
Yeah.
So, there were 2 teenage boys that kept coming in and out her house, like her friends or whatever. These was her people. One of them hid me in the bathroom, would not let me leave the bathroom. And I was very uncomfortable. Like he was like, he really pushing up on me. Mm-hmm. And I'm very uncomfortable. And I don't know how to respond in these situations because me and my mom don't talk about what consent is, what appropriate and inappropriate touch is. Like, we don't have those conversations. We don't have sex conversations at all. So that situation happened or whatever. I guess he finally got tired of me like not giving him any play in the bathroom or whatever. So we finally gets out of the bathroom. There was another situation where one of those nights we were outside until like almost midnight. We're like, we literally outside with her and a bunch of niggas on the block. So it's people anywhere from like 16, 17 to like 23, 24. Like, these is just motherfuckers outside on the block. One of the guys asked her, the 19-year-old, if I was having sex. Specifically asked about me. And she came to me and was like, yeah, my friend right here, whatever, he asked me, was you having sex? He was going to pay me to have sex with you.
And you 12?
12. This man was definitely 21, 22 because he was the one buying the liquor. So they were drinking and he was supplying it. So this is a grown, a 21, 22-year-old person asking about me as 12. I also recall multiple times because I grew up in Inglewood. So like 67 and honorary type shit. I remember walking to corner stores and older men asking me my age. And when I tell them I'm 12, they would say shit like, if you don't say nothing, I won't.
Oh my goodness.
This was my reality at 12. Over and over again, seeing that people's interest in me was tied to their ability to have sex with me, right? And then, you know, pair that with my dad's shoebox analogy about like, you know, once you have sex, you like a used pair of shoes. You're not supposed to put, like, once you put a foot in a shoe, it's not valuable anymore. It's like
that's what he said.
All of the messaging that I received, it was very like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it, on the one hand, it made me, it wasn't that I was curious about sex necessarily, but I didn't feel no type of way about it, I guess, because I was in all of these uncomfortable situations, and because me and my mom didn't have conversations around consent and sexual, you know, like sexual activity. Mind you, at the age of 12, I had just got like, I was only like a year past being molested. Like, because I was molested from the age of 7 to 11. So I'd already experienced some sort of sexual activity. Like, I didn't start enjoying head until I was in my 20s because that's what was happening to me from the age of 7 to 11 by a grown-ass man. So I didn't like receiving head for a very long time. So that, and then I got these situations where it's all these older men coming at me. To this day, I have not dated a man that was more than 4 years older than me. Like, I can't. Like, even at this age, I'm 34. If a 40-year-old come at me, I'm like, ooh. Because I'm triggered now. Yeah. Like, I feel like, I think you too old for me. Like, and I just go back to that or whatever. Now, of course, as you get older, the kind of age difference, it kind of, you know, it's not as, you know, black and white. Like, when you get into your 30s, it's like, okay, you've lived life. Like, you know, but me as a 34-year-old woman, I would never deal with someone in, you know, like, oh, you 25, like, you still grown. Like, no, that makes me uncomfortable. Like, I can't. But yeah, like, 12 is such a delicate age, and it literally influences your mindset around sex, because we already receiving these, you know, this socialization from society, our peers, etc. And then you get into these very traumatic, life-changing instances. Like, that weekend was crazy. I never went over there again. Yeah. Never went over there again. But I also never told my mom about it, because I'm like, if I did want to go over a friend's house, would you let me? Yeah. Because,
oh no, that's over with.
Yeah, but it's like, that doesn't mean that that's gonna happen every time I go somewhere type shit. But also, I'm like, I'm not, you know, because that particular friend that I was there with.
From a parent's perspective, the only way she could prevent that is you not to go nowhere.
Yeah, but also, I was being molested in your house.
Right, yeah.
So, and I knew I couldn't talk to you about that. So it's like, I couldn't talk to you about that. Then this situation happened. Can't talk about it. I'm walking to the corner store. Men is, on me. I don't feel safe to have these conversations with you. And so that goes back to my point earlier when I said, like, having these honest, safe spaces for our children to actually come and talk to us and ask questions. Like the fact that your son said, like, oh, it's this rumor going around about this girl. Like, he clearly feels safe having a conversation with you. I would have never went to my mom and had, like, oh, mom, this is what's going around at school. On the flip side, my daughter comes to me and tells me everything. So I know at the very least I am, like, of course I don't want to say everything, but she does come to me and talk to me about, a lot of different things. And of course, as she gets older, like, I just hope to continue to create a safe space for her to feel like she can talk to me. Because again, when you don't feel like you can talk to people, when you don't have that safe adult, that confidant that is gonna, like, really make you feel like, oh, I'm not in trouble for talking to you about this, you're less likely to be a victim to sexual abuse and sexual assault.
That just reminded me of how important it is, even if y'all not in the same house, for a child to have mother and father. So Trey, he come to me and told me that, right? Trey will tell his mom 100 times more shit than he'll tell me. That's his, like, we're both safe spaces, but I'm the enforcer. She's the nurturer. You know what I'm saying? So right now, she got his ear, and it'll be certain things to where I'm like, you could have told me that. But he like, man, I don't know how Pop's going. I'm around getting in trouble. That type of stuff. But the communication, I still know everything. Yeah. But I just, let them have that relationship or whatnot. Yeah. And that was how it was with me growing up, though. Like, and I told his mom, I'm like, that shit gonna flip one day, right? Yeah. Because like now I go to my pops like when he becomes a man, the dynamic gonna shift. It is. Like that's what happened to me. I go to my pops for a lot of stuff. I confide in my pops way more than my mom now. You know what I'm saying? And I still talk to her, but it's relatable. You know what I'm saying? We on the same page. Yeah. So that's why it's important to have both.
Yeah. So, yeah. I agree. Were there any other instances outside of this situation when you were 12, when you feel like there was some sort of sexual coercion, you didn't really want to do something, but you did it anyway, for influences beyond, like, you being a willing participant?
That was the only one.
That's good. That's good. Clearly, I got a lot of traumatic stories.
I usually want the pussy.
He said, I
don't be tripping like that.
After that, it was like, shit, let's do it.
Let's do it. That's crazy. Yeah. But, I think the kind of takeaway that I want is for us to, begin to view boys and girls. Obviously, there are some differences, but there are a lot of similarities because they do receive a lot of the same messaging around what consent is. And I think we need to normalize that conversation around consent too. I am fortunate enough to say that my child knows what consent is. Like, one time I just heard her having a conversation and she was like, and it was just like, it wasn't a situation where it was like because consent can even be like, you're trying to hug me and I don't want to hug you and I'm saying no. Facts. So it's stuff as simple as that. And so, like, for example, it was a situation, we were at a friend's house and their child was like jumping on her and she said, I didn't consent to this. I don't want you to jump on me. And I'm like, yeah. Like, because it's like we have to normalize those normalize things like that. Like, even me, if I don't want to have a certain conversation at a particular time, I'll dead ass bring up consent. I don't consent to this conversation right now.
Okay, now.
Like, I hear you.
If you said that shit to me and we talking about a conversation, I would feel like a fucking predator. Like, what do you mean you don't consent to us talking?
I hear you, but also let me provide a little context. My child's father, if I don't answer his calls, he will pull up to my house and knock on the door.
Nah, yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
I don't consent to this. Like, and that's what I do. And
that's a strong sense of entitlement right there.
He's done it multiple times. And it's like, here's the thing. You would think, imagine if you my nigga and this man pull up to my house at 5 o'clock in the morning, you would think I'm still fucking him.
It'll cross my mind.
I ain't fucked this man since my daughter was 1. She's about to be 13 this week. Like, but he literally, the last time he did this was within like the last 6 months. Like out like that's how he very much has this sense of entitlement. And I'm like, yo, you need to relax. Like, and I respond the same way every time. So I don't know why you think the response is going to be different. If you pull up to my house and I didn't tell you like, oh, you can come over and we had this conversation, you're trying to force me to have a conversation with you by like strong arming me into it. And I'm not with that.
So my son's mom, for a while, I want to say, what was this? This was probably because we separated, I think, when Trey was like 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. And it all the way up until like when he was 8, I don't know, 7, 8. And even every blue moon now, like she expects me to answer the phone. She expects me to, respond. And for a long time, I had to like kind of paint the picture of what we are and like how this is. And like, bro, I don't have to, I'll get to you when I get, especially if I have Trey or if you got him or like if nothing is wrong, I'll get to you when I get to you. I don't have to answer you right now. Mm-hmm. I just don't.
Yeah.
But you were used to that because we was, I guess, together for all that time. Anytime she called, I pick up. Like, what up? How you doing? What's going on? Mm-hmm. But like when after that separation, you still expected that. I'm like, bro,
that's wild as hell.
I'm gonna call you when I want to. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. You know like, my daughter's father, he hates that so bad. But so he'll call me, and if I answer the phone and he says something to me, I'll say like, that was textable.
Oh shit! This could have been an email.
So I know he be heated with me. Like I know I get him hot, but it's because there are boundaries here and you're trying to overstep those boundaries. And so yes, every single time I'm gonna say like, yo, you're not finna call my phone and ask me 21 questions. Cause why? I already don't like that from just regular people. Like I don't want anyone to ask me too many questions back to back. Actually, it happened earlier today. And the conversation lasted longer than it was supposed to because I kept telling him, you just asked me the same question 5 times, rephrasing the question, and I didn't answer it the first time, so why the fuck do you think I'm gonna answer it the 5th time? And he laughed and he like, cause why the fuck you ain't answering my question? I'm not going to. Give it up. Like, and I'm like, you've known me long enough to know that every time you ask me a bunch of questions, I get irritated because you want to ask me preliminary questions that lead up to the ultimate question that you wanted to ask me, and now I'm hot.
I ain't gonna hold you. I told my mom this not too long ago. I'm like, my entire life, like first of all, I be trolling my sisters when I say this. I'm the only kid that didn't give my parents any problems, like none. Like I never got out of line, nothing disrespectful, none of that. And I remember my mom, one time she asked me, she called me. She's like, where you at? Okay, where you finna go? What time you gonna be back? I said, Mom, what do you
need? I do that to my mama too.
I said, look, you asked me 4 questions to ask if I'm able to stop by my sister's house and grab it. Just ask me that.
You trying to set it up so you can't say no.
Yeah.
I don't like that shit.
Don't do that.
I don't like that shit because, and I swear to God, it's a couple people that do that consistently, and every time you do it, I'm going to be a dickhead and I'm going to call you out on it because I need you to stop. I need you to stop doing that. I need you to stop. And if you don't want me to be a dickhead, you will stop.
It's coercion.
And here's the thing, like, it's definitely coercion. It's coercion. But I swear to God, when my mama do it, my sister do it, my child's father do it. If you gonna act like, if you could only ask me one question out of your whole line of questioning, what is that question? And ask me that. Like, even
I do a strict ass genie.
A strict genie is crazy.
I wish for more wishes, motherfucker.
That is It's funny because even my daughter, she knows that. She if she asks me like the other day, first of all, let me bring up the question she asked me because that was wild. It was a wild question. It was a wild question because it threw me off guard. So this first of all, I don't like when she say, "Mommy, I got a question." When she say, "Mommy, I got a question," or "Can I ask you a question?" I instantly become a dickhead. If she say, "Mommy, I got a question," I say, "Daughter, I have an answer."
Yeah.
Or I say, she like, "Can I ask you a question?" And I say, "You just did." So
it's triggering for you, huh?
Yeah, like I just don't like it. I don't like it. So she like, "Mommy, I got a question." I just looked at her. I didn't even ask. Like, I just looked at her. And she asked me, she said, "Do you like insert person's name that we all know?" And I'm like, "Girl, why is you asking me that?" Like, and then she was like, "Mommy, are you sleeping with insert person that?" I'm like,
damn.
Are you sharing your coochie with him?
Hey, you know what you look like right now? Remember the on that Judge show?
The Judge show. That was literally the face I made. I'm in there making tacos, trying to make sure y'all eat and shit like that. I'm over here cooking and cleaning and stuff. And you asked,
Man,
she
she
was
hit
like,
you with some heavy shit.
she was like,
What'd you say?
She was like, "Are you sleeping with him?" I was like, "Why you asking me these questions?" She was like, "Sometimes you'll be spending the night at his house." And then you don't come back till the morning. I'm like,
man.
I said, "How's that any different than when I spend the night at Cam's house?" But she's a girl. I'm like, how's that any different than when
Uh-oh.
I'm like,
Another story.
I'm like, so then she like, I was like, "Why do you want to know?" And she's like, "Cause I like him." I'm like, that's exactly why I won't answer your question directly. I say, we're friends. We're great friends. We have a great friendship.
great friends.
We're great friends. We have a great friendship.
A great friend.
And I left it at that.
She finna go through your phone.
I'll break Trey's finger.
I bit her finger so.
I'll bend your fingers
That
back.
shit so bad.
My son be asking me to use my phone. He don't punch me ass. I ain't got no phone. He be asking me to use my phone to call his mama. He was trying to walk off with the phone. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
Stay right here.
Yeah, make sure you ain't doing shit else.
Oh, Lord.
Oh my God. But that shit threw me, on the one hand, it threw me like left field. Cause I'm like, yo, why do you want to know this shit? Cause you're my mom. I'm like, like, I would never ask Yolanda. I would have never
That's
like,
the first name.
"Are you, Mom, are you having sex with Howard?" Like, what?
Howard
I would
is
never.
crazy.
I would never. So on the one hand, I would never. But on the other hand, I'm like, I've created a space where she feels like
She can ask you that, obviously.
yeah, like she could ask me that. So it's like, I'm over here like, damn, on the one hand, I'm like, whew. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, she's comfortable enough to feel like we can have these conversations. I don't know why she thinks she like my best friend or my homie or some shit like that I'm just gonna be like, "Oh girl, yeah." Like, what?
Slow down, son.
Right, like slow down. Slow down, Jim Shoe. Like shit.
This is crazy. I just kind of like ain't go off on. I raised my voice at Trey today. I told him he was getting off the school bus, and I'm like, we gotta go get you a lining or whatever. So her get home or whatever. So he get off the bus and he don't come in the house. He go to my truck and he say, like, "Where you at?" I'm like, I'm in the house. He like, "We still going?" I'm like, "Yeah." He like, "Oh, I'm at the car." I'm like, "Oh, come in." He said, "I thought you said we was going." I'm like, "Bro, come in." Matter of fact, I didn't say nothing. I hung up on him. I didn't say anything there. I just hung up on him. So he come in the house.
Because you said what you said.
I said what I said. I come in the house and I was washing my face. I just came in from the gym. And he come in the bathroom. He like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Huh?" He said, "Why you mad?" I'm like, I say, "Because you don't follow instructions." He said, "What you mean?" I'm like, "I told you to come in the house and then you followed it up with, oh, I thought we were still, I get it, but it's a time and like, you don't question me. Just follow instructions." And because he has the freedom to ask questions.
Yeah.
But you don't know when to ask questions, just when to follow directions.
Come in the house and ask me that.
You could did that. Oh, what's going on? We still going? And then he did it again. I was dropping him off. Matter of fact, I was pulling up to the barbershop. And I actually told him, I'm like, "Yo, get it. I never do this though." I'm like, "Get out and go get your haircut." And I was finna go grab us some food, but I didn't tell him that. I'm like, "Go in." He like, "What's wrong? Where you going?" I'm like, bro, go get your haircut. Like, you ain't coming in? I said, what we just talk about? He's my fault. Okay, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like, if we get in an emergency and I say duck.
Why?
Why would that?
Motherfucker for the shoot, I say duck. Like, what we doing? Yo,
why we getting on the
with.
phone? Like, I'm struggling with that right now as well. Like,
bro.
I'm definitely struggling. I don't know what it is.
It's crazy. We went from we can't question our parents at all to like giving them some leeway, and now they over questioning us.
Yeah, like I want you to know that it's okay to ask questions. I don't want you to feel like it's wrong.
I need you to just figure out what the fuck that line is.
I need you to exactly. That's exactly what it is. I need you to say.
Read the room.
I need you to just wait. Just be a little patient. You don't have to immediately ask the question. Like, I promise you, it's gonna make sense because you ask me questions like you smarter than me, and I don't like that. Like that's like for me, when I tell my daughter to do something and she doesn't do exactly what I'm saying, I'm like, oh, so you thought you had it figured out better than me? You thought you had a better plan than me? And it's like, if you would have just followed the plan, we wouldn't be
here.
We wouldn't be here. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. So yeah, these damn teenagers, but we here. Yeah, we here. But I honestly think we're putting them in better spaces. Like, just because people aren't gonna be able to tell them anything because they are going to question it. Versus being in a situation where you don't feel like, oh, I can't speak up, I can't question, I don't know.
Yeah, you scared of a quote unquote authority figure. Exactly.
Because we not raising people that's scared of authority, and I love that for us. I love that for them. But it, as with all things, we just gotta keep guiding them so that they know, like, it's not gonna be like this forever. By the time, in a couple years, we ain't gonna have to keep, I hope.
Literally a couple years.
Yeah, like.
That shit gonna come so quick.
Yeah, in a couple years, they gonna be like, oh, okay, I get it. I know. I get, like, because we repeated ourselves enough to where it's just like, you just get it.
A bit more of a mature brain.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we talked about it a lot on this episode. I think it was good, though. Terry has a question.
I got just something I want to point out.
Yes.
For the end of the show. This is my takeaway, right? I think that having this conversation is a huge step in the right direction for men voices to be heard, because men aren't oppressed in general in society, but because of gender roles and what we expect from men, we are oppressed in very specific ways. And this is one of those ways. So this was great and a step in the right direction for men to be able to express trauma and different things they have going on when it comes to sexual assault. However, it also shows how far away we are from reaching that point, because when Reggie told his whole story from the jump, from introducing himself, like, yeah, it's me, Jones. I'm the nigga who got sexual assaulted. Like, it was like funny the whole time. Whereas, like, when Jody told her stories, that shit was like dead ass serious. Like,
that's a good observation.
If this episode started with any woman telling the same story, it would have been so serious in the room. Versus like with a man telling, it was like the whole thing was like comical.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a great start, but it just showed it's even people who are more conscious of what's going on, more socially responsible, as us three are. It just shows how detached that shit really is. The fact that it's still like we know it's wrong, we're aware of it, but it's still kind of comical. Like
I agree. It definitely goes into the social.
There's no way I would have, like, when you was telling the story about when you was in the bathroom with the boy, right? It wasn't shit funny about that. Like we was quiet as hell.
Yeah,
for sure. But she was kind of scary a little bit.
Right, like I was imagining that shit. Like, it's dark and shit. He all up on her like this, and I'm over here getting mad, low key.
Yeah.
But if I was telling that story about a girl that was on that with me, and it'd have been like, nigga, you ain't like, so what happened? Like,
right,
it's a whole different dynamic.
Even as a 12-year-old.
Even as well. That's a good observation.
Yeah. So, just in terms of the messaging that we receive around how boys and men are supposed to react to sexual experiences, whether it be coercion, forced, any of that, right? Because even if, for example, let's say you get overly drunk and then a woman just like strips you and then start having sex with you. we not gonna look at that the same as if a woman gets overly drunk, a man takes her fucking clothes off, has sex with her. But they are the exact same thing. It is rapey as fuck.
Yeah.
And so I definitely, you know, I want us to also walk away understanding that it's not just men have to ask for consent. Women have to ask for consent. Children need to be equipped with knowledge so that they know how to advocate for themselves and know when to speak up, because they understand that this is wrong. I'm not supposed to be in this situation. I need to feel safe enough to call someone to come get the help or the assistance that I need in these situations. But yeah, we receive a lot of bad messaging, and it's time to unlearn all that shit. We got to unlearn it. Every now and then situations pop up, and we, you know, like whether it be, again, everything that we see on social media, we're like, oh no, this is how you should react. But it's like, just because that was how things were done when we were kids does not make it right. A lot of that shit was fucking wrong as fuck. So we have to unlearn that shit so that we can continue to create healthy and safe spaces for not only ourselves, but for, you know, our children, the people that look up to us. And yeah, that's what I think. For
sure.
Do you want to leave the people with anything?
You got AMP?
You got AMP?
No, man. Yeah, I got none.
Okay. All right. So, that's it for today's episode. Make sure, as always, y'all are liking, rating, reviewing all of the things that come out of Her Nut Matters. If you are in the Chicagoland area, or if you want to attend this amazing event, make sure you are in the Chicagoland area for March 30th. The Rose Gold event is taking place. There is an amazing mission. The Rose Are Dead podcast is throwing the Rose Gold event on again March 30th to celebrate the mentees that they've been working with. Some amazing inspiring young Black boys. Make sure y'all come out to that. It is an R&B charity party. It is a party. So the boys will present their aspirations. That team is also looking for sponsors. So if you have any other questions, you can go to rosearedead.org. The initiative specific that this event will be celebrating is called The Village. So again, if you got any questions, you could definitely check that out. My boys Jones and Terry Roseland are the innovative men behind that. So make sure y'all check that out. And as always, anything that I got going on, you can find it on Instagram. Instagram don't miss shit. So yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for tuning in to Her Nut Matters. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share the pleasure with others. Follow us on Instagram at Her Nut Matters to stay updated on everything we have going on. Remember, pleasure is power. Go out there and own yours. Catch you next time.